Hi, Michael Lish, Community Skis. So we're going to do an upgrade, or actually an update on the trailer, the manufacturing facility that we've made mobile. Some of you might recall 333 had a mobile platform. I essentially built that out of a lot of found and used material. This trailer is obviously upgraded. And we have a lot of people to thank for that. There was a lot of donations in regards to materials and some really cool stuff that made this trailer really dynamic. So I'm going to kind of move us around a little bit. Up here, we actually have living quarters. There's two different places to sleep, and also in the back shop, believe it or not, we have a crew capacity of another additional 3 people, and one of them is considered the coffin. We'll get there in just a moment. So here we have, you know, my business partner Kristen Bromas has a great culinary background. She did an understudy recently with Ian over at Skady, which was next door to our previous location. But one of the things that really resonated with us was the opportunity to entertain, to get people really involved with the process of kind of conversation, integrating with us in regards to what are we doing, what are you doing, having a great meal, and talking about it. So up here we have a litany of great, All-Clad being a really good product in regards to, I'm not sure if it's in commercial kitchens, but it's certainly in our kitchen. We have an amazing Camp Chef stove. It has some amazing BTUs, so it's actually, I wouldn't say commercial quality again, and I refer to that because we're talking about doing great food rather quickly to a professional level. It's kind of how we try to create the kitchen component. We've got, again, a really nice Camp Chef oven. In regards to heating, we're currently using a propane heater that's catalytic. We have a lot of sensors throughout the trailer, both for fire, carbon monoxide, and propane bleeding. Over here, we have a really great workstation. We have double monitors, and it allows Kristen to do the design process with client in here in this room. And one of the great things is we can go both on-grid, well, I shouldn't say we could go on-grid if we plugged in, but we have solar capacity that we're building out, we have generator, and we have obviously inverters that will drive off of the battery system. So we have a lot of capacity in regards to really clean, true sine wave energy. From here, let's kind of move back into the factory. So from here I'm going to start talking about some of the technical upgrades we've been able to accomplish here in the new facility, and also what that translates to in terms of product quality and product performance. So let's come on back here. One of the things that's remained fundamental through all of our trials and tribulations, I will be the first to admit, some self-imposed. I have some tendencies I'm really working hard to get rid of, but at the same time, recognizing that in getting rid of the bad things that one tends to do, you can accommodate more good things. And so that's what this is reflecting. We're really looking at, fundamentally, how can we continue to improve our product? And one of the ways is the manufacturing platform. And as I said, I'll go through categorically what we've done to improve the process in terms of probably quality control and end-game product performance. This is a set of skis from Johnny Teller. We're actually dissecting it right now. There's Titanol on the top sheet. There's quite a bit in the tip section. We're trying to see if we can emulate performance in regards to fibers as opposed to metals. We actually do think we can. So we've been doing a lot of carbon composite skis. We've learned a tremendous amount about failure load points and where we need to strengthen them to create the ultralight products that are ultra high performance. And typically when you start to lighten and chisel out things from a particular product, they get weak and they fail. So where do we need to focus the strengthening, and then also where can we extract weight that doesn't actually have an added value in terms of performance? We aren't trying to get into the race world, but we're looking to Johnny Teller to look and analyze our performance characteristics as we build out a fully composite-based skis as opposed to a Titanol top sheet skin ski. Some of the significant upgrades in the factory are just actually ease of movement. It's like a smaller kitchen that's much more efficient than what we had previously on Burner Street, and that was reflected, that really came to fruition from what we had done in the first trailer. So learning a lot, and then having built factories all over the world, we've been able to incorporate some of that kind of how can we do it better thinking, and then building out the factory ground floor up. We have a much better hot box that's down here. It's propane driven. We have fluent fans from both ends, so we've got a really strong convection current. Here we've got basically a finished processing section, so the skis come down. We have a really good fine finish table that was established with the thinking, how fast can we move physically, humanly, and doing the most precise work. So I established this table to actually allow us to move product around, get it down, and then get fine base tuning, which is really, at this point, and I'm going to say this with a grain of salt, we're on par with the Wintersteiger, using by hand. And we're really excited about that because obviously we can't fit a Wintersteiger in here. They're very expensive, and the way we are able to do it is by hand, which means we can continue to get better minute by minute. Whereas when you have a machine, that's what you got, that's what you get. So I think we're really going to start pushing our base finishes to exceed industry standard, which is obviously Wintersteiger. Back here, we've reverted back to a chainsaw. We've gotten out of, before we used a still gas 2-stroke, and the nice thing about electric chainsaws, and they're phenomenal now, they've really come a long ways, is when they need more power, they pull it from the grid. In our case, they pull it from our 2 twin Honda 3000 EUI generators. So this does not bog. It's much more precise than we were able to achieve with the previous chainsaw, and actually even more so than what we had in regards to the bandsaw. So this is a core that would have gone through. I'm actually going to actuate this, and you'll see how this moves along the linear track, and this core being on it would go through the blade system and then create what we call the taper. And the taper, and that sound you hear, that's a cooling mechanism. It's a really tough cut for the blades. We're using a carbide blade, which retains its sharpness over a longer period of time, but it needs to keep cool. So we have a flowing water system. I'm going to back that off, return that, and that's a huge improvement. We have a lot more precision in regards to how we taper the core, which creates the flex pattern and the overall stiffness. We've done some upgrades. This is actually in the up position. This drops down. Our PTEX edge assembly system has been upgraded from something of a kind of a loose tolerance like a Kalashnikov to something like a very tight tolerance like an M16. Now, typically there's a benefit to a Kalashnikov because you can take it underwater, throw dirt at it, and it still click, 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 and it does what it does. That's kind of the favor of the Russian thinking of, can we land a MiG on a dirt-strewn field, as opposed to our high-tech jets that if you suck something in, they just don't want to fly anymore. So we've always balanced out between those two kind of extreme thinkings. The Kalashnikov, loose tolerance that does perform, to tight tolerance, which has kind of a more narrow parameter in regards to how well it will perform over the broadest margin. So we've kind of leaned more towards the M16, not to use rifles and guns and things that are not so nice, but at the same time, from the design perspective, that's kind of been my margins. Back here, we've done probably no significant upgrades in regards to the rail package. Let me move this out of the way, except that it's a little bit more kind of orchestrated. It moves a little bit quicker, which can trim down to upwards to probably 3 minutes per set of skis. Keeping in mind, we think in terms of 10-second intervals. How fast can we load? How fast can we unload a particular piece of tooling? That's our competitive edge. Ultimately, what we don't want to see is this type of technology being adopted by China and being lost to America. We want American manufacturing to be competitive, and in order to do so, we have to be extremely efficient. Kind of moving back over here, we have a significant air filtration system. Obviously, what we breathe is kind of key, so probably every 3 minutes at high capacity, we're able to completely recirculate the particulates in the air, actually entrap those particulates. At the end of the day, which is kind of the beginning of this particular day, is what matters most to us. There's two things: that we continue to improve our product, that we continue to remain competitive in the industry. And that means at the price point too. The other thing that's probably more fundamental, more meaningful in terms of kind of the background drive to continue to do what we do with all the adversity that we face is education. So this is again an open see-through factory. We're consistently or constantly giving tours. We are developing this exact same platform for Bend, Oregon, for their high school, the first ever ski manufacturing program for a high school, for any kind of educational program in the world. In a sense, we're taking everything that we've learned, and then we're able to reestablish that on their campus for their students. I think about 19 students per semester to build 2 sets of skis and go out to, I think it's Mount Bachelor, to go out and test those skis. And then come back and do real learning. They've built something, they've seen how the different components of flexural components, the actual materials choices, the design elements, the aesthetic components, which is primarily the graphics, how all those things affect how something performs. So it's a great program. We are delighted to be part of, and that's the end of my little spiel. Thank you.